got to tell y'all about this thing called life. You know I got to share it. See, there's this thing called life. I got to tell y'all. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 165 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's special guest is Michael Padurano. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, closer than any of my teachers throughout school. So you're good.
How do you pronounce it?
Padurano.
Padurano. Okay.
Yeah.
Padurano.
I
Michael
keep it
Padurano.
simple.
Okay. Michael Padurano, a living embodiment of transformative growth and inner balance. He stands as a testament to the journey from extremes to equilibrium, all while embracing his definitive purpose to elevate humanity through knowledge and understanding. In his unwavering commitment to living by example, Michael navigates the path of radical self-awareness, extending his guidance to empower others to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here. Um, Michael has also experienced 16 NDEs, which is pretty amazing in itself, right? So we'll get into all that. I always like to start with my guests in the beginning just to see, when you were young, were you already experiencing anything spiritual that later awakened with these NDEs? Or, well, actually, your first NDE was pretty young, right? So,
Yeah, I was 3.5, 4 years old when I experienced my first NDE. And from that point, all my gifts were fully activated.
mm,
And it was kind of like, oh, here's the keys. Go figure out how to use them. And that's kind of
wow.
what I did, right? Because I went through emotional and physical abuse and mental abuse as a child from my mother at the time because of what she grew up with. She did the best she could, and she did love me in her own way. And I see that now in hindsight. At the time, I didn't see it. I thought that she hated me, and I had no desire to live. Um, but looking back, it was the greatest gift, and I can explain that as we go through the story. But it really was the greatest gift.
Mm,
So what I did was the spiritual gifts that I started getting, like seeing, claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairsentience, all those different things. I just started telling people things that they weren't ready for and probably weren't meant to hear to keep people away from me.
mm.
Your uncle's going to die on this date. This is how they're going to die. You're going to lose your job. This is what's going to happen. Whatever it took to keep people away. Because of the trauma that I was experiencing, I just wanted everybody to stay as far away from me as possible. So and then over the course of time, and as I went through more NDAs and more life experience, um, I started getting different understandings of the gifts and how to utilize them properly and how to use them effectively and in a way to for the betterment of humanity, opposed to protecting my survivor mentality that I was stuck in for so many years.
Absolutely. Do you mind telling everyone that first experience when you were 3 or 4 years old? Do you want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
how that happened?
Sure. I believe I walked in on my mom cheating on my dad, and she just started wailing on me.
Oh wow.
And she was always a very physical person, a very strong person beyond her human strength. And she just kind of snapped.
Oh wow.
And I don't remember much. I blocked most of it out for years until I went into deep psychotherapy with a shaman. And through shamanic and deep psychotherapy practices, was able to reveal what happened, which was blow by blow, reliving it 3 or 4 different times until I was able to heal through it.
Mm,
And I was basically completely unconscious, completely killed, completely flatlined, dead for a period of time, and woke up completely healed.
mm.
Um, During that, because I was raised Roman Catholic and I was baptized, it was very Catholic based near death experience where Jesus, archangels,
Oh.
met with God, met with Peter at the gates, all this stuff that was very relative to the Catholic upbringing. And I will sidetrack here because what I'll say is since my last one, which I was 43 years old, which now I have a more deeply spiritual belief,
Mm,
like beyond any religion, beyond any understanding of religion. I respect and honor religions and honor their principles and their morals and their ethics and the beauty that's within each one of them. but now I have a deeper understanding of a direct connection to a higher power.
Mm.
So my most recent one was more just deep knowings and downloads
Oh,
and wisdom that was shared with me and infinite knowledge to where it was more like a spherical, non-linear, non-physical, tangible space where I was just telepathically communicating with any entity I chose to.
mm.
And infinite wisdom was just poured into me, which is really what I believe that led to my triple major stroke that I had a little bit of almost 3 years ago.
Oh, wow. And was that your final ND, the triple,
It
the
was the
most
most
recent
recent
one?
one, yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
most
well,
recent.
okay, we'll get to that one. So,
Don't know if it's the last one, but I know that it's the most recent one.
yeah. Well, after, like you said, during your youth, so you already had these gifts and you would purposely push people away, right? So
Yes.
at what point, I mean, did that carry on for most of your life, or at some point did you embrace the gifts and try to help people, or how long did that carry on where you were just pushing people away?
I always wanted to help people that were hurting.
Mm,
In a lot of ways, I didn't know how because I didn't help myself.
mm.
So being a kid going through these extreme experiences, having my second near death experience at 9 when I drowned,
Oh,
I was
wow.
underwater for 17 minutes. My third at 11 when I drowned again, I was underwater for 14 minutes. And then I had three more when I was 12. I overdosed my first three times in a
Wow.
matter of a week. Each one of those led to deeper understandings of my gifts, and I chose to numb and sedate them through drug use, drug and alcohol use. I
Wow.
started drinking at 9, doing hardcore drugs by 12.
Mm.
And I followed that path until I got sober at 27,
Oh, wow.
which I really went overboard in every extreme possible just to numb it all out.
Mm.
It didn't work, but I tried.
Absolutely.
Um,
Um, oh, good, good.
I didn't really embrace my gifts until after I got sober and I was ready to face myself. I mean, they were always there. I was always able to tap into them. I was always able to utilize them. I met lots of uh, soul tied people, soul connections, soul contracts, whatever you want to label it. There's so many labels for all these things just to try and make us feel better about why things happen. But at the end of the day, the reality is they're just people that we have ties to on a soul level.
Mm.
And what I've learned is there's everyone's in your life for a lesson, a blessing, or, really those are the two reasons, right? It all depends how we perceive it. I
I,
look at my life today, looking back in hindsight, as an enchanted journey of misunderstood miracles.
mm.
Because during the moment, it's very hard to understand the gift that's within any circumstance. But when you're able to look in hindsight, you're able to see, well, if that wouldn't have happened, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
So the growth and the evolution that comes from these quote unquote unfortunate events that I now welcome and embrace, I used to hate and label and name and want to tear them down and get rid of them. Now I've learned to embrace it just as much as anything else, like Jung with a shadow or however you want to describe it. It's all just labels.
Absolutely. And not to backtrack too much, but
It's fine.
for example, you said you OD'd 3 times, as a child.
Uh-huh.
So I guess this is just goes to show you that everyone truly does have different experiences. For example, like there's been those that have overdosed and then come back, and it's almost not that they're completely healed, but in a way, right? Some of them say like from that moment on, like they don't have the urge to use anything or any drugs or anything, right? So as a child, you didn't get that kind of experience where when you OD'd, an angel appeared and they're like, hey, nothing like that.
I
So,
didn't get a choice. I
uh,
didn't get a choice. It was go back. It's not your time.
mm,
And they always showed me a tombstone with dates on it.
oh,
It's
wow.
not your time yet, go back. It's not your time yet, go back. Um, and that I never had the option. It was
Mm,
never an option for me. I wanted to not come back.
yeah, yeah.
My attempted suicide was by overdosing and
Mm,
extreme amounts of drugs, extreme amounts. And I did it many, many times. I mean,
wow.
I had 7 total overdoses over the course of the years that I used.
Wow.
3 in that first week, but 7 total.
Wow.
It was, and you can count some of the car accidents I got into, which had to do with drugs and drinking. Even my DUI that I got arrested for. like 7 trains had to be rerouted, and nobody even knew I was on the tracks. I was
Wow.
directly across the street from a sheriff's station of a large county in Florida, large county, not small, not a small county. It was in Broward County, Florida, which is Fort Lauderdale in that area. So a lot of people, millions of people in that area, directly across the street. Nobody even noticed I was there, but they rerouted 7 trains.
Mm,
So I mean, these are things that I can't explain looking back in hindsight. But I'm grateful because I'm grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful for every moment that I have breathing.
absolutely. Absolutely. So you carried on that behavior pretty much until you were 27, you said?
Yeah, it was Father's Day of after I turned 27, so 2006,
Mm.
that I got on my hands and knees and I begged God to either keep me sober or kill me.
Oh, wow.
And I promised never to touch anything again if God kept me sober. And I've
Mm.
been sober ever since.
Oh, wow.
Um, the adventures didn't end, the extremes didn't end, but the escapism shifted until I was ready to face myself. I hid behind businesses. I hid behind overachieving in business.
Mm.
I've been worth millions over 5 times, and I've been homeless now 6 times.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, like it's always been the extremes. When you can't carry the vibration of what you're stepping into, you have that. Everybody has that creativity. Everybody has that intuitive gift to step into something amazing that makes an impact and create. Again, because I had no fear of death or no desire to live, no matter how you wanted to look at it, it was the same end result, right? I wasn't scared for that to happen. So I would take on things that were so enormous that I had no business being involved with. I
Mm.
worked the United Nations development program for 4.5 years. I mean, I was thrown out of the 2 high schools and never went to college.
Mm.
And I was working. At one point, I had contracts from 36 federal governments around the world. We were doing all sorts of humanitarian projects, all sorts of deep banking stuff. I mean, I was doing things that I had no business being a part of, no understanding, no comprehension of how I was involved. And they always fell apart at the end because I couldn't carry the vibration forward because I
Mm.
didn't face myself or step into it. So it
Mm.
was always self sabotage. It was always trusting somebody over myself. It was always going against my intuition, which at the end of the day is what I really believe it is going against our own intuition,
Mm.
which I couldn't identify in real time. But in hindsight, through reflective practices, through journaling exercises, through a program I created based on the work I did to heal, that's what I've realized is that I was going against my own intuition.
So have they ever showed you? I mean, I guess you kind of defined it. So sometimes it's stepping into a role that you're just not ready to handle,
Yeah,
even though,
that's what it always is,
yeah.
always. And because so after my gifts, I was able to tap into past lives, current lives, future lives, different carnations, all these different things, right? And I have many thoughts about these whole things too. I was able to tap into it, learn lessons from it, understand it, go deeper into it. At times, hide in them, get obsessed in the past incarnations, get attached to who I what used to be, who my soul used to be in other lives, because I hated this life so much that I wanted to hide behind that. I mean, I found any escapism possible not to be present. So
Absolutely.
what I learned from it at the end of the day is it's just objective reflection.
Mm.
Whether it's a past life, future life, if they show you the future, if it's clairvoyance, even clairvoyance isn't fully accurate because at the end of the day, there's infinite timelines,
Mm.
infinite choices. Anytime you make a choice, what you predicted in clairvoyant abilities, psychic abilities changes.
Mm.
So if you give somebody breadcrumbs of what one of their options are on a timeline that they desire to be on, the minute they make a choice, that timeline's already gone. So it's a matter of if you're doing readings, if you're doing psychics, if you're doing tarot, if you're doing these things, and you're doing more finite readings, not the broad generalizations to where it can motivate culture and humanity to make an impact, which I think is really the core root of these things, which is beautiful, right? But
Yeah.
if you're giving more finite stuff, like you're going to get married this date, you're going to marry this type of person, you're going to do this, that person's only going to focus on those type of people,
Yeah.
only focus on that date. So when they meet that person, they're going to be blown away, but that's all they focused on.
Mm.
It's like, I haven't seen a red car. I really want to see a red car. You go see a million of them because that's what you're focused on. So you're going to always see it first and foremost. So
Absolutely.
when I guide people, I stay away from specifics because I don't want to guide them on a path. I want
Mm.
to show them what's possible, which is limitlessness. I don't want to show them a path that they need to follow because that's me manipulating where they're going. And I find that very dirty in the spiritual business.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
almost egoic spirituality when I look at it.
It's almost the what?
Egoic spirituality,
What's that? Oh,
ego,
ego. Oh,
ego
oh yeah,
based.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
ego based spirituality. Like I'm trying to prove how worthy I am. So I'm going to put you on a path that I define for you, knowing that you're going to attract that path because
Mm.
you're focused on that path.
Mm.
Not I'm going to do what's in the best interest of humanity or even you, which is to learn along the way and evolve through your lessons so that when you get to where you're meant to be, you make the right choices for yourself, not what I decided was best for you.
Mm. Wow, that's an interesting perspective. Um, Let me ask you, so as you started having these NDEs, what are some of the things that you started seeing on the other side? Like, what were some of the even messages, I
It
guess, as a kid that you were getting?
so it keep in mind as my belief structure changed,
Mm-hmm.
the NDs changed with it. So they went from very Judeo-Christian based, to then evolving to more of a spiritual type experiences and insights.
Mm.
So there's a broad spectrum because of the years you're talking about and the experiences between. So it ranges from you're always going to find what you're seeking. What you need to fulfill your purpose is what you're going to be shown. And
Absolutely.
and because I had such a wide variety of them over the course of my first one at 3.5, 4 years old, my last one at 43, so over 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
whole life experiences in between, right? Sober, not sober, entrepreneur, working for corporate, all these different things. What I was what I was shown at different times was very different.
Mm.
But the common linear line between them all is that there is going to be an end of the current ways and an opportunity for a new beginning for humanity to flourish coming out of it.
Mm.
And the suffering and the pain involved is based on each individual on this planet and how they perceive it.
Absolutely.
Because suffering is a choice.
Absolutely. And I think that's been a very common theme now, like that about things are coming to an end, but also because of that, it reminds me of like the butterfly, right? Like they say someone broke it down scientifically, and I didn't know that happened, but they said like when the caterpillar is changing into the butterfly in the cocoon, it's actually fighting it. It's literally like no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually when it surrenders, it comes out this beautiful butterfly. So I think as people are trying to change or awaken or change their vibration to, I guess, maybe a more positive state, there's more pushback, right? So we could see how everything's more chaotic in these times, right? So it seems like that's kind
So,
of what's happening.
so I'm going to touch on a point there. To
Absolutely.
change your surface vibration is easy, right?
Mm.
Go practice gratitude, go journal, go do positive things, keep yourself happy. To change your core vibrational field, which is at your deepest root of your soul level, you need to grow through the pain
Mm.
because growing through the pain doesn't change your core frequency. It doesn't lower your vibration to experience pain, hate,
Mm.
anger, fear. When it lowers is when you get stuck in it.
Wow.
So it's really releasing and healing the attachments to those things.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. Wow. Releasing the attachment to those things. Is that some of the things that you were shown also, like with your work with the shaman, and when they when you had memories of what happened to you as a child, was that more the focus to release the attachment to what happened, or just to understand what had happened?
So to oversimplify, which is what I love doing, one was to understand what happened because I blocked it out so desperately. I
Okay.
remember 2.5 years old going over the Hollywood, California sign and going to see Kit, the Knight Rider car at Universal Studios. And I remember all these things at 2.5, but
Mm.
then I didn't remember anything until 5. There was like
Oh.
this huge gap of time. And then I remembered everything from 5 on.
Mm.
So there was this gap of time that was a complete blackout. So when I sat down with the psychotherapist in Greece, that's also a shaman, it was going into all of it
Oh.
and really re-digging into what was blocking out and why was I blocking it out.
Mm,
And then once we tapped into it, it's about alchemizing it.
mm,
It always comes down to alchemization, right? It's creating the yin and the yang, the balance within, because we can't exist without darkness, we can't exist without light. You have to find your alchemization balance, divine masculine, divine feminine within us. You have to be able to alchemize it. Without one, you're broken.
yeah.
Like my childhood created a very distorted relationship with divine feminine, so I had a toxic femininity about me, and which then created a toxic masculinity because I was always in survivor mode trying to protect my broken divine feminine because I was wounded, right? And if you ask Freud, it's mother wounds. If you ask different psychiatrists, it's experiential based. I went into the energetic side because
Mm,
I was always very logical, always an overthinker. I needed to understand it at the science level. And that's where alchemization comes in. So when I look at things in my life, it's always alchemization. I see an inner yin and yang. And when I do body scans, when I look at different energy levels within me, when I have pain in somewhere, because the body does keep score, like that book and all those other different things. I mean, I can do almost anything that anyone can do.
mm,
Anyone can do it, right? It could be called Reiki, it could be called quantum healing, it could be fire Reiki, whatever label you want to give it. It's all energy healing, right? It's different modalities of energy healing. So when I open myself up to it and I just intuitively follow it, it's all the same practices. It's just my own way of doing it. And
ab-
there's 8 billion souls here that all have their own way of doing it. We need to stop trying to do it in others' ways.
absolutely. So let's touch on that a little bit. These practices, did you learn? Did you were you taught, or after one of your NDEs you just already had them, like being able to do Reiki or
I was never trained in Reiki. I worked with lots of different energy healers. I worked with the Reiki master after my stroke to
mm.
create the container for me to heal myself.
Oh, okay.
So let's not forget the fact that if you go to a healer, all they're doing is opening the space.
Mm,
Whether your energy accepts it, allows it, heals it, doesn't heal it. Usually, what I find is it's because we're going to someone that we trust,
mm,
we allow ourselves to feel that healing experience. Then we give credit to whoever opened the container. When at the end of the day, we're not giving ourselves credit.
mm,
It's all about allowing. I need to go to Sedona to be spiritual. I need to go to Tulum to be spiritual. I need to go to Ibiza to party. I need to go here to do this. At the end of the day, it's because that's where you allow yourself to be.
mm.
Wherever you are is where you're meant to be. So stop fighting it. You wouldn't be there if you weren't meant to be there. But you're the magic that's anywhere in the world. You don't have to go to somewhere special to be magic. You have to learn how to allow yourself to be magical everywhere. And it really comes down to how do you allow yourself.
Mm.
I wanted
Absolutely.
to create something called me treats.
What's
I wanted
that?
to reverse. I wanted to create something called me treats.
Oh, okay. I
I
got.
wanted to reverse the power dynamic, rather than putting the power in the venue, in the location, in the event. I wanted to put it into the person again.
Mm,
You're the magic. Wherever you go, that's where the magic is. Stop pretending that one space is more magical to you. Your attachment or your allowance of allowing yourself to be magical in those spaces is what creates the additional magic.
mm,
You get enough people saying that Northern California, the mountains up there, I don't remember the area, but it's like very spiritual based. And then you have Sedona, then you have Tulum, then you have all these different places, right? I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to go to Costa Rica. You're you. Doesn't matter where you are. Stop putting power into the place. Put the power in yourself. Believe in you, and everything changes immediately. And that's what I try to guide people towards. So I wanted
mm.
to create something called me treats because I think retreats are it's just another escapism in my mind. It's another self devaluation because all you're doing and subconsciously is devaluing yourself where you're at. You're saying I need to be here to experience something. So
Yeah.
subconsciously that means that you're not worth it where you're at, and you're just blocking yourself more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Definitely. So, uh, now what kind of work do you mostly focus on? Like what is your main after all this, knowledge that you've gotten from, not just your NDEs, but everything you've experienced in life, the traumas, or, healing from the traumas, working with others. Like, what is your main focus now? What do you feel you're being guided to do?
I created my program after my stroke because that was the download I received during it. And what my
Mm,
program really does is it helps people step into unconditional self love,
mm,
compassionate self awareness, self forgiveness, um, becoming more self aware. Because scientific studies have proven we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. It's a UPenn study, a University of Pennsylvania study, their neurological department. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Up to 95% of them are subconscious or unconscious based, which means it's auto programmed based on our history.
mm,
That's where our patterns and behaviors come from that we don't realize we're in,
mm,
right? And then it slants up to 85% negative. So that's why I say when you're saying I'm going to go to Tulum and have the most amazing magical experience, 85% of the time your mind's turning it into, well, you're not worth shit here. That's what I'm trying to say in these words. I say it a little simpler, a little cleaner, but the reality is our subconscious, our our minds roll, our brains roll in this world is to protect this life experience, and all it can do is go based on history. So it's going to constantly keep you safe in your permanent patterns and behaviors because it can control the pain that it knows.
mm,
So to break out of those patterns of behavior, you have to rewrite your subconscious. You have to heal your trauma. You have to grow through the experience and understand that there is no plateau to reach. There's no finish line.
mm,
Finish line is death. So don't be in a rush to get there. Like just embrace and enjoy the process. Turn it into a way of life, a non-negotiable way of life. That's it. Like don't do goals. Don't do set expectations because then you're setting yourself up for failure. Don't do any of those things. Embrace yourself and accept yourself 100% exactly as you are, and then grow forward from there. And just understand that it's a daily process. Without the learning, we'd never expand. So don't be when you hit a what somebody calls an obstacle or adversity, don't get upset. You wouldn't grow without it. It's the greatest gift. I look at my trauma as the miracles, and I look at the my triggers as gifts because my
absolutely.
triggers show me what I need to work on. So it's a
Absolutely.
gift. I don't have to go searching.
Absolutely. So you said your program is already out there. It's already
It's been written, it's been created, it's already published and copyrighted. There's two versions of it, an individual version and a organizational version. I give the program away for free.
mhm,
I copyrighted it just to protect it so that nobody turns it into a business,
absolutely.
just to protect it and so that it's out there in perpetuity. I don't care what anybody does with it while I'm alive. I need it out there for as humanity evolves and they're ready for it. I wanted it there in perpetuity. I also wrote a book that has some of the principles of the, has a little bit of my backstory, some of my deeper insights and understandings, and then it has three of the exercises, three of the core exercises from the program in it.
Mm.
And then I expanded that into the program as I was healing from my stroke.
Oh wow.
Me and my co-creator,
Oh
but
okay.
it's already out there. I mean, I'll take the people through it or I'll give it to them. I only charge people if I take them through it one on one.
Mm.
I give it to people for free. It also filters out the ones that aren't willing to do the work, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people don't aren't always willing to do the work. So I give it away for free, and if they really want it, they come to me. I don't sell anybody because this isn't it isn't a quote unquote easy journey, which I don't buy in the easy or hard, but it's a layered journey, and there's layers and complexities to it. You have to be willing to face because if you're not willing to, then I'm going to be dragging you, and that's not going to work either.
Mm.
So
Absolutely. So you want to tell everybody where they can get a hold of you? I know you have your YouTube channel. I know you have different places where I guess you said you're like LinkedIn, you're newer to
I have LinkedIn,
okay.
I have my YouTube, I have my Instagram, I have my company Instagram. My phone number is actually published publicly on LinkedIn and in my Instagram profile. Like it's out there, and just search Michael Padurano and you'll find me anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Like I'm just out there. I'm the only Michael Padurano on the planet.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. So easy to find. Is there any other? thing you want to tell anybody before we go? Any other last message? Whether it be, I guess, something that we can expect. Like you said, you don't like to put a definite on it because you don't want to shape anyone's future. So, is there any other message that you feel you need to let people know about?
No matter what you're doing, no matter who you want to work with, no matter who you want to evolve side by side with, pay attention to a power dynamic. Don't buy into something that there's a power dynamic. You're going to harm yourself more than help yourself. And look for the ones that will support you being self-inspired and self-empowered.
Mm,
If they're empowering you, but they're not teaching you how to be self-empowered, that's creating a codependent relationship and making you believe that you need them to be empowered.
mm,
If they're inspiring you, same concept, but you're depending on them to be inspired, it's a beautiful thing. But if you're not learning how to be self inspired, then you're creating a new codependent relationship. So, in
absolutely.
turn, subconsciously, you're devaluing yourself.
Mm,
And again, you don't know until you know. Like, I only realized these things because I went through those circumstances and grew through. And I
mm,
had to heal those attachments and wounds and realize that stepping into my power was just being me,
mm.
finding ways to be self inspired, finding ways to be self empowered. Raising my three kids that had similar trauma that I had from their mother,
Oh wow.
and now I'm a solo parent of three kids. So helping them heal from their trauma. My son has a habit of saying, "Dad, are you proud of me?" And the first thing I do is say back, "Yes, I'm always proud of you, but I need you to be proud of yourself."
Mm,
Because I need them to be self-empowered and self-inspired.
mm.
If they're codependent on me, then what kind of adults am I raising?
Yeah.
I'm raising adults. My kids aren't kids. I'm raising adults. I want them to be ready for the world that they're walking into, especially because they were all born with their gifts.
Mm,
So all three of my kids have their gifts fully out and present, all in different ways.
mm.
It all, I mean, life is just so magical when we allow it to be. Our circumstances don't define us. It's how we live through actions that defines who we are. And what are you
Absolutely.
doing no matter what your circumstance is? Nothing changes my circum but no matter what my circumstance is, I don't change how I interact with the world
Mm,
because I know who I am at my core. And I believe it through and through. I'm always the person that I stand into and that I stand behind.
mm.
It's who I am.
Absolutely.
Words are cheap, actions are everything.
Absolutely.
It's easy to say that person inspired me. I want to go be like them. I don't want anybody to be like me. I want them to be like them.
Mm,
I want you to live into your magic. I want you to find your magic within, your gifts within. Because just because you fall under a label, clairvoyance, clairsentient, claircognizance, doesn't mean that we have it the same way. We all have our own unique perspective on it. We have our own experiences that create a channel in a mode in a medium for it. So it's all a
mm.
little bit different.
Absolutely. So
You
do you
know,
do the coaching as well? Do you do any kind of coaching?
yeah, I'll do spiritual coaching. I'll do spiritual guide. I don't like coaching. Coaching is a power dynamic attached to the label.
Oh.
So I like guiding. I like guiding better.
Mm.
Or Sherpa. I'm only in your life for a short period of time to help you change everything.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like you stay around me long enough, you're gonna end up loving yourself unconditionally. You're gonna tighten your circle, and you're gonna live this unbelievably empowered life that you
Absolutely.
never dreamed was possible if you accidentally hang out with me long enough.
Absolutely.
But
No,
it's not easy, right? Like I mean, we like to take the easy way. We like to take the easy path. We like to. Why aren't things easy? Well, the minute that we apply easy to a label, our mind makes it easier. The minute we attach hard or difficult to a label, our mind makes it harder or more difficult. And then slants 85% negative.
mm,
So do that math. It's just not worth it to give those labels to it.
yeah,
I'm just honored, blessed, and grateful to be alive in every breath I take, to be present in the moment.
absolutely. No, no, and thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for being here. We'll definitely have to do it again. Um, yeah, I appreciate
Anytime you want.
everything. I appreciate everything that you shared. I know it was a little quick, but we can definitely do it again. And yeah, just thank you so much. I'm honored to hear your story.
I'm honored to be able to share it. Is there anything
Thank
that
you.
you wanted to ask me personally before I go?
Um, I mean, it's so many layers to unpack. Like I think that we could have gone into detail with each one of your NDs, but I feel like we would have been here for a
That would have been a whole series.
yeah, exactly, a few hours. So that's why I'd love to come back and do it again. Maybe we can go more into depth for those that I know there's, a lot of people like to really go into the, the depth of the NDE, right? Each individual one, like what did you see on the other side and all that stuff, right? Or the whole experience, right? The whole experience of the tragedy even, right? Like, oh, okay, you were beat and this and that and more, but I kind of like the way you explained it, right? Very to the point. Just, hey, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, right? So I guess it's more for my audience just to, because like you said, right, you became very focused on not having codependent relationships, right? Not um giving your power over to, because it's true, right? Any healer will tell you, like, or at least the old school ones, right? Not just the old school ones. A
Well,
lot of them are
we open
very
the
aware.
container. We open the container, and
Yeah,
they heal themselves.
exactly.
We create the
Everyone,
space for them to heal themselves.
yeah, that's all it is, right? Or to, where the power came from source. I just, hey, I provided the space, and
Yes.
and you healed yourself, or source self, and so that we all have the ability to heal ourselves. Um, but I understand. I guess I get why, because yeah, there's so many blocks put in this life, right? Everything is teaching us in this world
It's
that
self
we need.
disconnection.
Hmm?
It's self disconnection.
Yeah,
Everything is just disconnecting for us from ourselves.
yeah,
Everything.
yeah. Everything. And when I went to college, I took advertising, marketing, sales, right? And everything is about, selling you something. Why?
Manipulation.
Huh? Why you need that?
Manipulation.
Yeah, why you
Yeah.
need that? Why you need that car to be cool, that new car, and why you need, or the medication, right? Are you feeling this? Then you must need this medication. Are you feel, so everything is training you to believe that you do need something else, right? You can't fix it on your own. You need that, right? So it is a tough journey if you're not aware, right? So I guess that question, yeah, was it more just the immediate snapping out of it after, like, one of your experiences? Or, I mean, it sounds like it just was the whole journey for you, right? That
Yeah.
really got you to that
But
point.
but but see, here's the thing, right? Like when I went to go, okay, so I'll give you insight, which should be another episode probably.
Mm.
You can pause it now so that it stays under the hour, so that you can do the translations, whatever you need to do. Or cut off recording or whatever
No,
it is.
no, just
But
go ahead. I
anyway,
mean, we still
so
got we
okay.
got maybe another 10 minutes. So if you want to, if it's gonna, you can
But
do it
now I'm
in.
smoking, so I mean I'll just stop smoking, so it'll be fun.
Okay.
So if you look at I left my ex-wife in 2018. She was in Arkansas. I was triggered to a point where I wanted to kill myself again.
Mm.
And I was so miserable, so disempowered, so disenfranchised with life again, completely blocking myself in every intuitive way. And I was sober, keep in mind, just miserable in
Mm.
life. So I left my ex and I said, here's a civil divorce. Here's our verbal agreement that we're going to do. And 3 weeks later, she disappeared with my kids and estranged me from them for 20 months.
Wow.
So she met a guy online, moved across the state of Arkansas, disappeared with my kids for 20 months. I had to hack into her credit cards to find my kids. Okay. So while I'm in Florida starting to work on myself again, for the first time, I decided I was ready to confront myself. And I was doing surface level crap because I was a wuss. I had no interest in really facing my trauma, but I knew that I needed to change. So I started listening to the Gary V's, the David Meltzers, the Ed Milet's, and getting softer, right? The Simon Sinek's, and then moving on to the Joe Dispenzas and all these people that we put on pedestals. And then at some point, I realized the more I put somebody on a pedestal, the lower I'm putting myself, right? Because if I'm always looking up to everyone around me, then what am I doing for myself?
Mm.
I'm telling myself I'm down. So anyone that started using the instead of I have the way for you, I stop listening to, because they're telling you their way, but telling you that their way is the only way. So it's a very slight change of words, but it means so much in the way that you communicate to people. It's an egoic spirituality. So you're telling people that you're better in a hierarchical way, when spirituality, there is no hierarchy. There just isn't. We're all part of one. We're all one. We're all unified. So there is no better or worse. So at the end of the day, this is where people get confused and manipulated and twisted, right? Because you go into that cell mentality, which is you need me, rather than authentic storytelling. I grew through trauma. I grew through divorce. I grew through fighting for my kids. I grew through systemic issues against men fighting for their children. I grew through, rather than authentic storytelling and attracting clients that can relate to your story, you're doing it in the typical marketing and sales way, which is manipulations, fear mongering, and trigger selling
Mm.
and emotional buying. But that doesn't mean there's going to be follow through. And again, I believe that it's the placebo effect. If you believe something's going to work, it's going to work. You believe that Tulum is the most magical place on earth, you're going to have the most magical experiences there. If you believe that you're the magic, and no matter where you are, you're going to have the most magical experiences every day of your life. It's all how you allow yourself to believe and allow yourself to live.
Mm.
So then in February of 2020, right, I got proof of evidence of the abuse against my kids from my ex-mother-in-law and ex-sister-in-law. And I drove to Arkansas from South Florida, got emergency custody of my kids March 6th of 2020. And within a week or two, the whole world shut down. I got trapped out there for 19 months, 1,300 miles away from home, lost all revenue, lost my contracts, lost my business, lost everything. And I was stranded out there for 19 months fighting for my kids all throughout COVID by myself, getting death threats from my ex-wife's ex-boyfriend because he was in a biker gang and kept swearing he was going to kill me daily. I mean, it goes on and on. But that's when I realized I went there to save them, but I had to save myself to be able to do it. So I say I saved my kids, but I accidentally saved myself in the process. And during that 19 months, I went through 40 to 60 books because I found audiobooks. And I'm an audiological person, so I absorb the information so much better. And then I worked with 40 to 50 coaches total. And I worked with 7 shamans, 2 priests, a rabbi, and 3 total psychotherapists. I got ordained in 2 of the shamanic practices, and I was taught directly from a psychotherapist how to utilize it within shamanism. So I took all those modalities, and that's just what I live into in a daily way. That's part of my program, just very interwoven into the psychology of it and rewriting the subconscious. So that was the real flip.
Okay.
I went from despising myself to 2 years later unconditionally loving myself.
Wow. No, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that was, I guess, a brief way of explaining how you worked through it. And we'll definitely have to do it again. Thank you so much for sharing that, our, in closing. And yeah, I really appreciate that because I know we could unpack that further. We'll definitely have to do it. So,
See, and when doing shows like this, right, I can easily commoditize a show because of the extremes of my life. But I prefer to allow you to intuitively guide it, and we just go wherever it flows.
absolutely.
Because to me, it's easier to be digested. We don't get stuck in one thing, and it just flows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just try to respect the space I'm in.
Absolutely. No. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, Michael, thank you so much. I'll put all the links so people could contact you. I'll put the link to your YouTube channel. Um, and yeah, on that note, thank you everybody that watched. And yeah, don't forget to comment and share your thoughts, share what you resonated with, and all that good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that gets away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever.
Feel this way